Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have we play with using variables in particular, focusing on this. So in order to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to create a little sprite that we're going to use. Right. So the little sprite that we're going to use is a button to press, and then we're going to use a variable to try and power what looks like a jump that has gravity. So first things first is we will make a button. It doesn't need to be anything in particular. Let's go red. Why not? Let's go red. Right, we'll draw a button. If I hold shift, no, yeah, if I hold oh, you guys don't have shift. You drag yourself a button or you can do a square. It doesn't really matter either way. It's just something to press on the screen. And I'm going to call this button power. Righto. So in the code for it's going to be pretty straightforward. So let's make a variable. We're going to call this power. And I am then going to say when green flag clicked, control forever if. Right. I'm going to say two things, which is mouse down and press, so like when we're clicking on it. So if touching mouse pointer, aka your finger on the screen, and I'm pressing down on it, then I want to say change power by 1. Let's set the start power to 0. Alrighty. So I should be able to just click on it when I press play. As I click it, oh crack, it clicks up very, very fast. So let's slow that down. So let's go control and go wait 1 second. Oh, come back over here, you. Right, wait 1 second. I'll change it to 0.1 of a second. And let's just save that and give another wee test. Right, it's not too bad. I might speed it up a little bit. Nah, that'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. Okay. Not quite perfect this bit, but we'll get the cat working first and then we'll kind of work with that. So let's go jump over to the cat now, and I can rename this here if I want. I call it cat. Right, so let's go forever when green flag clicked. Sorry, forever. When are we going to tell us to go? Okay, so I need to work that out. Okay, so my issue that I was working out is, sorry, I tend to code in my head a wee bit. When we press this button down, the number goes up. So if I press it, starts at 0, we hold the number down. But at what point does the computer know that I'm not touching this button anymore? Maybe in this forever loop. But I don't want, so outside of this if, let's stop the code. Outside of this if, the computer knows I'm not doing this bit. But what I need to say is, well, as soon as I stop pressing this, I want something to happen first before I let go. Because basically what I want to have happen as I'm pressing this down, as soon as I let go, I want the cat to say, right, now it's time for me to jump. But I don't want to jump as soon as I'm pressing it, and I don't want it to jump halfway through pressing it. I don't want it to try and jump when I'm not pressing it. So like there's a there's a few little bits in there. Right, so to get around this, we'll go over repeat until. So we're going to say if touching mouse pointer, repeat some code in here. Repeat until oops, sorry, I should duplicate that, my bad. Repeat until we're not holding the mouse down anymore. So as soon as this mouse is being, as soon as our finger's down on the screen, pressing the button, we're going to say keep repeating it until we take our finger off. When we take our finger off, I want to quickly then basically say to the cat, go jump. So we need to put something right in that bit there, which we'll use another variable, which will say make a variable called jump. Okay, and I'm going to say set jump to 1, as in like yes, and then otherwise for the rest of the game, when it's in this forever loop, I'm going to say 0. We're not jumping, right? So that's what this bit will cover. Sorry, I know it's a few little steps and we're using variables. So to explain what a variable is just a word. Like I could call this banana and peanuts. Didn't really matter. But if I call it that, it becomes confusing. I'm like, oh, right. When the peanuts hit 15 and I let go, then I want the jump. I want the the something else strange, the bananas, then to be turned on, so that way I can use the peanut power to do that once the bananas say it's okay. And it becomes very confusing, and it just ends up being like a very ugly sandwich. So this is why we use names that sound like they're doing things, because then we can understand what we're trying to mean. So a variable is something we can just set a value to, and we can use that value to do whatever. So in here I've said when I'm touching, I want to just change this variable called power, and I want it to increase. We get that, and we say once we've stopped increasing it, we're going to say jump to 1 or jump to 0, which is basically like an on-off, like a light switch, yes, no. And we basically say once jump flicks to yes, we can then say for the cat forever if jump is equal to yes equals to variables jump, yes being 1. In proper programming, we have, if I flick this up very quickly, instead of using a 1, 0, we use something called a boolean, which is a true false. So the variable, instead of being set to like 1, 0, it'd be set to a true false. Where's this one I've been working on? Main. Right, so for example here, true. Or when I'm using key presses, if I'm pressing this key, it's true. If I've let go, it's false. This kind of stuff. So yeah, so that's what you would be able to do in a coding scenario. Right, sorry about the interruption. So we're going to say, yes, if jump is equal to 1, then we're going to say motion change. Now we want just up and down, so this is why we're using y, because y is vertical movement. So change y by 10, just to get the count of the cat to initially go up. Then we're going to say repeat until. And I'm just going to see, if you can see down here, this is where the cat's current kind of like position is when it's touching the ground. It's negative 132, so I'm going to say repeat until the current y position is less than this number, so negative 133. And then I'm going to say change y by not just 10, but here it comes, by power. And then I'm going to change power by, oh sorry, not jump, power by negative 1. And then what I'm going to do, oh no, jump will set back to 0, that's fine. I think that should be good. Let's give it a test. Hold, let go. Nothing happened. What happened to the cat? It must have changed between here and here so quickly. That'll be what it is. So let's just put a little weight in here, because once we let go, we not really want to do anything in here quickly. So let's just say half a second. Let's give this another retest. So stop, start, let's go. So hold, let go. Then if I hold again, Okay, right. So what we want to do is once this cat jumps and goes up and then comes down, we then want to say to the cat, once you've finished jumping, we want to set this jump power back to 0 because otherwise it starts off on a negative, which is not ideal. So I'm going to set power to 0. Alright, let's give this a test. So we're holding it down, jump, let go. Hold this down again, jump, let go. So this cat's leg's getting stuck into the ground, which is not ideal. The reason for this is by the time the jump's coming down, if we watch, the coming down power is, if I just watch as soon as contact hits. Oh, what the heck happened there? It's like negative 15 or so. And so what happens is once it gets this edge, it moves down still 15 more spaces. So what we're going to do then is we'll just manually tell it to start on the ground. So we'll say set y, there we go. Set y to, oh, we're not, grab the cat. Set y to negative 132. Jump. But let's try it again. I think it just glitched with the screen. Yeah, there you go. So there we go. So you can get that power. Obviously, the top of the screen is the top of the screen. It's just going to go take a long time to go down. If we want this cat's jump to seem bigger, then we just make the cat smaller. So if I look and say set size to, I don't know, 30% of your current size. Let's try that. Oh, my bad, I'm on the wrong thing. Let's set that to 100. Click on the cat. Set size to, yeah, 30%. Let's try that now. Right, and so when I click now, and I hold it down to about 25, so I can move this number, because this is where the bottom of the screen is. So obviously the cat 30% is a little bit small, so 45%. And you can do a few interesting things if you really, really want as well. So let's do this. All right, okay, you might find this interesting. There's this one called change size by. And I'm going to say change size by power. So it's a number that goes up and then down. And then I'm just going to say set size to back to that 45%. Right, let's test this now to see what happens. So you get some quite interesting results. Things go up and down. So we'll leave it like that. Obviously you can, if you want with a cat, take this change size bar out, but this power is ticking up and down. So when we're changing it, when we let go, the only thing is this power meter thing as you hold it ticks a little bit slow for my liking. So I'm going to go 0.05. Just test that again. Yeah, it's a bit better. There you go. So that's playing with variables and just having something to work with on the screen and getting used to mucking around with variables and doing other bits and pieces. You can have things like move cat by speed. And we've got things that are falling down the screen, and every time something falls out the bottom of the screen, we can say change the speed by 1, and then suddenly the speed gets faster and faster, and then it becomes almost impossible to dodge, as most games get faster as the game progresses. So there you go.